Class is nothing but what? It will going to bind the data members as well as the member function. If a one class is able to inherit or to acquire the features or properties of one class to another class, that methodology is known as what? Inheritance. If a number of classes are derived from a single base class, then that kind of inheritance is known as what? Hierarchical inheritance. Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the new chapter of your second PUC's Computer Science. That is chapter number 10, Inheritance. Myself Rohini TS, Computer Science lecturer, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So before getting into that inheritance chapter, let me have a blueprint for this chapter. So in this chapter, you are going to get one 5-mark question. So you must be concentrate on the 5 marks question from this chapter. That is question number 34 in your examination question paper. You are going to get only one question that is for 5 marks. It's regarding the blueprint of inheritance chapter. Then what are the objectives of this chapter? What are all the things that we are going to learn in this chapter? We'll see now. In this chapter, I am going to discuss with you some of the introduction part regarding the inheritance and what are the needs of inheritance, why we require this inheritance and how it will be used and what is the role of visibility mode. The main objective of using object-oriented programming is to provide the data security. So with the help of this visibility mode, we're going to see how it will provide the data security and how the data will be secured with the help of this visibility mode. That means how can I control the visibility of my content to one class to another class. That will be the thing I am going to discuss with you. Then I am going to discuss what are the levels of inheritance, that is what are the types of inheritance that we have in this chapter we're going to learn. After that I am going to have a concept called virtual base class, abstract class and how can I use the constructor and destructor in the derived class. How can I use the constructor and destructors in the derived class. So these are the objectives that I will be discussing in this chapter. But today's session I am going to discuss with you all regarding the introduction and what do you mean by inheritance and what are the needs and what are the advantages of using this inheritance and how the visibility mode will work. After that I am going to discuss with you regarding levels or types of inheritance. So without wasting of your time, let me get into today's session. That is inheritance. So before getting into this inheritance, just recall what are the basic concept of object-oriented programming that you learned. So I think you are going to get some of the basic concept in your mind. In that, it must include a concept called inheritance. So there we have object, classes, data abstraction, data encapsulation is there, inheritance is there, polymorphism is there, and dynamic binding along with message passing. So these are the basic concept of object-oriented programming. Then in previous chapters we had a discussion regarding classes and object and also we learned some of the things regarding this polymorphism along with the overloading, right? So in today's session, I will be discussing regarding inheritance. So this inheritance topic is very easy. Surely you can get 5 marks from this chapter. If you learn all the concept, then surely you are going to get 5 marks easily from this chapter. So now we'll see what do you mean by inheritance and what is the usage of using this inheritance. What are the basic terminologies that I need to concentrate. Coming to the inheritance. So before getting into this, first you have to remember what do you mean by class? Why we require class? Just recall what is class here? Class is nothing but what? It will going to bind the data members as well as the member function, right? So data members are the members are a variable which I am going to declare inside the class. That is data member. Then what is member function? Member functions are the functions that I am going to use in a class. The member functions are the functions that I am going to use in a class. That is nothing but what? Member functions. Together I can call that as a class. Together I can call that as what? Class. That will going to bind the data members as well as the member function. That is related to class. So coming to the inheritance topic, first you have to remember two terminologies. That is, two basic terminologies you have to remember. So that is nothing but what? So the base class and derived class. We know what you mean by class and what class consists of, but we don't know what you mean by base class and derived class. Let me have a look on that. Base class. What is this base class? A class which will going to provide its properties or characteristics and its methods to another class. That is nothing but what? Base class. Let me take one example to make you understand what you mean by inheritance. So, inheritance is nothing but what? One class will going to acquire the properties of another class. That is nothing but inheritance. For example, consider you and your parents. You may have some of your parents' characteristics, like you may have same texture of hair and same color of skin. In the same way, you may have your own characteristics. Along with the features of your parents, you may have your own characteristics and own attributes. Okay, in the same way, one class will going to have a feature of another class. That means one class will going to inherit or acquire the features of another class. That is nothing but what? Inheritance. So now we'll see which class is giving the properties and which class will going to receive the properties or will acquire the properties. So we'll see now. Here, inheritance is the capacity of one class to acquire the properties or features of another class. That is nothing but inheritance. So, if a one class is able to inherit or to acquire the features or properties of one class to another class, that methodology is known as what? Inheritance. So, here you have to consider two terminologies, that is base class and derived class. So, now we'll see what you mean by base class and what you mean by derived class. So, coming to the base class are the class which will going to provide or which will going to give its feature to another class. That means nothing but what? That is base class. What is the another name for base class? That is also known as super class or a parent class. Here you can see that base class is a class. It is a class whose properties are. So, whatever the properties which resides in the base class will be inherited by. So, this by is very, very important. Will be inherited by another class. For example, if you are inheriting some features from your parent, in the sense your parent will be the super class. That means they are giving their features to you. You are acquiring the features from your parent, so that your parent will be the super class and you will be the derived class. So derived class in the sense the class which will going to acquire the properties from the base class or from the existing class. That is nothing but derived class. Okay, what is the another name for derived class then? It is also known as subclass or a child class. So we'll see now, derived class is a class that inherits. What it will going to do? It will going to inherit or it will acquire the properties from base class or an existing class. That is nothing but derived class, and we have some other name like subclass, and I can also call this derived class as a child class. And I can call this base class as a parent class. Okay. Inheritance is the ability of one class to acquire the features of another class. That methodology is inheritance. The class which is giving its properties to the new class, then that is base class or super class or a parent class. Coming to the derived class are the class which acquires or which inherit the features from the base class. That is nothing but what? Subclass or a derived class or a child class. It is regarding the basic terminology that you have to remember regarding the inheritance. Then, what are the advantages or what are the needs of using this inheritance? So now we got to know that it will going to acquire the features of one class to another class, and it can also have its own properties. That is nothing but what? Inheritance. Then what are the needs or what are the advantages of using this inheritance? We'll see one by one, and it is also important for 5 marks question. That is, what are the advantages of using inheritance? So what is the first advantage here? We can reuse the existing code. What we can do? We can reuse the existing code. For example, here I am going to create one class. What I am going to do? I am going to create one class. In that class, it has its own properties. It has its own properties along with the functions. But I want to have the same function for another purpose. I want to have the same function or a same class for another purpose, or to create or to develop any other programs or a application. At that time, what I can do? No need to create any other class or no need to create any other function from the scratch. So I can directly copy the content of already existing class to my requirement. That means what? By making use of this inheritance concept, by acquiring the features of already existing class, I can reuse the code. That is the first thing. What do you mean by that? Reusing existing code. If you want to use the existing code, then no need to rewrite the code from the scratch. We can directly use that code into our new applications or to new program. That is the first point. What is the second advantage of using this inheritance? That is faster development time. Why it will be faster? I have already existing code. If I want the same code to be used in my new program or in new development of the application, so I can easily add that same content into my new requirement so that it will be faster in the development. What is the next advantage of using this inheritance? That is easy to maintain. Everything will be considered as base class and derived class. That means it will be based on whether it is acquiring the features of the base class, whether it is a new class. So I can easily get to know that thing. It will be easier for me to maintain. Whatever the content is there, then I can easily copy that content and I can develop the systems or I can develop the program in a faster manner. That will also help me to maintain the code very well so that it will be easier to maintain and easy to extend. How it will be easy to extend? When I'm using this inheritance concept, there we have base class along with a derived class, right? From the base class, I can acquire some properties, but what if I want to add new technologies or new properties or new methods into that class? So by creating the derived class, I can easily extend the content or I can easily add the new content to the existing class. So that with the help of this inheritance concept, it will help me how to extend or to improve or to enhance the performance of a program. So with the help of this inheritance concept, I can easily extend the properties or the contents. Then memory utilization. With the help of this inheritance concept, memory utilization will be enhanced. For example, if I want to have the same code to another requirement, then no need to create the same code again. So that will save the memory, and reusing of the existing code will also save our time and also saves the memory and resources of the system. So these are the advantages or needs of using inheritance. Then we'll see what are the advantages. With the help of inheritance, I can reuse the existing code and faster development time with the help of this inheritance, and there is a easy way to maintain the code, then easy to extend. If I want to add new content to the existing one, then it will be easier for me to extend. Then proper memory utilization will be there with the help of this inheritance concept. It's all regarding need of inheritance. We'll see the next content, that is nothing but how can I use the derived class. We already know how to use the base class and what do you mean by base class and what will be the derived class. So in derived class, I'm going to acquire some properties from the base class, and in derived class, I can also include my own features or own properties. You must know, before getting into this, you must know how to create a class. How to create a class? I must use class keyword and I need to specify the class name. Then I need to specify the access specifier. So that includes private, public and protected. Based on my requirement, I need to choose any of the access specifier. Okay, so private. So whether it could be private, public or protected based on your requirement, there you are supposed to write the data members as well as the member functions. What and all you have to take? Data member and then member function. After that, I am going to close a class. So here you can take either private, public or protected based on the requirement. This is how I can create a class. That is definition of a class. It is nothing but a base class. Then what is the syntax in order to use a derived class? So that we are going to see now. It is nothing but defining of a derived class. So defining of a derived class. Then what is the syntax in order to define the derived class? Here I must specify the class derived class. So what I need to specify? I need to specify the class keyword. Then I must include the derived class name. That means the new class which I am going to create. That is nothing but what? Derived class. I must specify the name of a derived class. That is a child class or a subclass. Here I have a colon. 2 dot is nothing but what? Colon. It specifies that I am inheriting the features from base class. So colons are used to represent that I am inheriting. I am inheriting the features of the base class. First class keyword must be used. That means we are creating a class. Then I must take the class name. So which class name I must specify? That is derived class name. Then I have a colon that indicates that I am inheriting the features. After that I need to specify the visibility mode. That is mainly used for the data security or for the data hiding features. Visibility mode that will tells us how can I inherit the features of this base class to derived class. Okay, so there we have private, public and protected. With the help of all the 3 visibility mode, I can specify the visibility mode, that is access specifier mode. Then I must take the base class name. That means from which base class I am inheriting the features to my new class, that is to the derived class. Okay, so this derived class can also have its own features or own properties and behaviors. Then I am going to close a derived class. What I am going to do at last? I am going to close a derived class declaration. Getting? So this is how you are supposed to take the derived class. So here you can see that what are the contents that I have declared in the definition of a derived class. So here class is a keyword. After that I need to specify the derived class name. That is the name of a derived class, and colon that specify I am inheriting or I am deriving some properties from the base class. After that, I must specify the visibility mode. What I must specify? Visibility mode that specifies the type of derivation, whether it is privately derived, publicly derived or a protectedly derived. Okay. Next, we need to specify the base class name. That is name of a base class from which I am acquiring the properties. This is regarding how to define the derived class. The next topic is visibility mode. So by making use of this object-oriented programming languages, that is mainly used to provide a data security. That and all we know. How can I provide a data security for my data? In a C++ with the help of access specifiers, that is public, private as well as protected. So in previous sessions or in the previous chapter, we learned what do you mean by public access specifier and how it will be helpful, and what do you mean by private as well as the protected methods. So in this we'll see what do you mean by visibility mode. So coming to the visibility mode of a inheritance. So what do you mean by this visibility mode? Object-oriented programming mainly used for the data security. So with the help of access specifier, I can provide a security for my data. So which are the access specifier that we have in C++? That is public, private and protected. So how the base class is derived? And how can I access the content of base class to the derived class? We're going to learn with this visibility mode. So if you see this content, here I need to specify the visibility mode of a base class. So that will help me out. That means how can I inherit the features or a contents of the base class to derived class. You already know that how the public, private and protected access specifier works. If I want to inherit the data members and member functions of a base class, that will be preceded by visibility mode. We'll see the content of this table now. Here I have a base class visibility and then derived class visibility. So from this table, we are get to know that how can I inherit the features of base class to derived class, whether it is privately derived or publicly derived or a protectedly derived. Already we had a discussion regarding the access specifier. If it is private, then only the member of that class can access. If it is public in nature, then everything, that means whatever the content, data members as well as the member function which comes under the public scope can be accessed either inside or outside the class definition. If it is protected by nature, then it can be inherited or it can be accessed only by the member function of that class or with the help of friend functions or with the help of derived class members. So you can see the table of content. Here it will going to let us know that how can I derive the content of base class to derived class. So what is the way of remembering this point is, here I have a private, protected and public. If it is private in nature, if the content of base class is private in nature, that means the data members and member functions which is declared or used under the scope of private in nature, then I cannot inherit any of the content to my derived class. If it is protected, then it will be protected. If it is public, then it will be public in nature. So the remaining two modes will be private, private and private. Okay, so then what is the way of remembering this one? If it is private, then I cannot inherit the content. So for this one, protected and public, in a public derivation mode, it will be protected and public, and for private and protected derivation mode, it will be always a private derived mode, or always it will be the private visibility mode. So this is regarding visibility mode of a derived class. So we'll move on to the next topic, that is levels of inheritance. It is also nothing but what? Types of inheritance. So already we know that we have two classes, that is base class and derived class. Derived class will going to have a features of base class. Along with that, it can also have its own features. Right? So derived class can also have its own features. So now we'll see the types of inheritance, how it will going to derive or how it will going to acquire the features from base class. So there are 5 methods or 5 levels of inheritance is there. There are 5 types, that is single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance and hybrid inheritance. And it is also important question for 5 marks. What do you mean by inheritance? Explain any 2 types of inheritance with syntax and example. That could be the kind of questions. Okay. So now we'll see the types of inheritance one by one. Single inheritance is the first type of inheritance. What is inheritance mainly? That will going to acquire, one class will going to acquire the features from another class. So which class is acquiring the features? Derived class. Which class is giving its features? That is a base class. So in a single inheritance, there we have only one base class, only one derived class. So here you can see that here I have only one base class and one derived class. So that means A will be the base class and this B will be the derived class. So what it means? This B will going to have a feature of this base class A, and this B can also have its own features or own data members as well as the member function, because it is a class. So single inheritance in the sense what? It is a process of creating a new class from existing base class. What I am going to do here, I am going to create one new class from the base class. So here I have only one base class and only one derived class. So you can see the syntax here, base class as well as derived class. So with the help of this image, surely you can understand what you mean by single inheritance. Here I have a lion. So that is a base class. So this cub will going to have a feature of its parents. So what it will going to have? It will going to have a features of its parents. Along with that, it can also have its own features. So that means it will be the derived class and this lion will be the base class. The class which is giving its property to the new class, that is base class, the class one which is acquiring the features from the existing class, that is derived class. Single level inheritance or a single inheritance, I have only one base class and only one derived class. That is regarding single inheritance. Here you can see the content or a syntax. I am going to create one base class. How to create a base class? Class and base class name, and it may comprises of data members as well as the member function. I am going to close a scope of a class. Then what is the syntax in order to define, in order to write the derived class? So first I am going to take the class keyword and I am going to specify the derived class name. Then this colon indicates that I am inheriting the features from this base class. So from this base class, here public is a visibility mode. What is this? Here public is a visibility mode and this derived class can also have its content, and I am going to close the scope of this derived class. And here you have to remember one thing, derived class will going to create an object. So which class will going to create an object? Derived class will going to create an object. With the help of that object, I can access the data members and member functions of a base class. I hope you understood with single level inheritance. So which is the next type of inheritance that I have? That is multi-level inheritance. As the name indicates, multi-level inheritance in the sense, derived class or a derivation of a class will be takes place from the another derived class. Derive in the sense what? I have a base class and derived class. I am creating one more derived class from already derived class. That means there will be more than one level. If you see here I have a class called A. That will be the base class. What is this A? That will be the base class, and class B is the intermediate class. What is this B? That is intermediate class. This A class become the base class for this B class. That is derived class. And I am acquiring or inheriting the feature of B to C. Then C become the derived class and this B become the base class for the class called C. So if you consider the real-time example, here I have a grandfather. So grandfather in the sense that will be the base class. So grandfather, it has its own characteristics, features and behaviors. That data will be copied to father. That is nothing but what? Derived class. Intermediate derived class. This son class or a child class can also acquire the features from father class. So in the first level, grandfather become the base class and father become the derived class. When I come to this level, at that time this father become the base class and this child become the derived class. So what it depicts you, indirectly this derived class will acquiring the features of this grandparent or a grandfather. So that is regarding multi-level inheritance. So derivation of a class will be done when it acquires the properties from another derived class. There will be more than one level. So here I have a base class and derived class 1, derived class 2. For which class I need to create an object then? So for that I have to go with derived class 2. If you see the example here it is considered as a base class. Then what are the features of this class includes? It has the ability to cook, sing, dance and teach. So next level of class will going to acquire the features from this base class to derived class, and this class can also have its own features, like it will going to inherit the features like cook, sing as well as dance and teach, and it has its own feature, that is code. that is code. So the next level, it will going to acquire the features from the already existing derived class. Then this become the derived class and this become the base class at this level. So when I come to this class or when I come to this level, this becomes the base class and this becomes the derived class. So at last this class will going to acquire or it will going to inherit the features from the already existing derived class. So there will be more than one level of an inheritance. I hope you understood with that example. If you see the syntax, here I am creating one class, that is A. Class name is A and it can has its own data members and member function. I am gonna close that class A and I am creating one more derived class. The class name is AB. What is the name of that derived class? AB, and this colon depicts that I am using inheritance. I am inheriting the features of a base class. Then which is the base class here? That is class A. How it will be derived? With a public visibility mode. With a public visibility mode, and this class AB can have its own features and it can also acquire the features from this class A. And coming to the next level of inheritance, here I have a class called ABC. So what I am doing here, I am creating a class called ABC and I have a colon that specify I am inheriting the features from the existing class. Which is the existing class here? AB. So that means this A will be the base class and AB will be the intermediary class and this ABC will become the derived class. So this A will become the base class and AB become the derived class at level 1 of inheritance. When I come to this level, this AB becomes the base class and this ABC becomes the derived class. So indirectly this ABC acquiring the features from this base class A because it is inheriting the features from AB. So this AB acquires the features from A. So there will be more than one level of inheritance. I hope you all understood with multi-level inheritance. Which is the next type of inheritance? That is multiple inheritance. As the name indicates, multiple in the sense there will be more than one base class, only one derived class. So if you see that, here I have two base classes, that is A and B, and I have a derived class called C. So this C will going to have a features from both A as well as from the B. So whatever the characteristics or features which is resides in this base class A will be copied to the derived class C, and this derived class C will going to have another feature from the base class B. So that means multiple inheritance in the sense a class can be derived from more than one base class. If it is acquiring the features from more than one base class, then that kind of inheritance will be known as what? Multiple inheritance. If you see here I have a base class 1, base class 2 and also I can have a base class n. Base class n. I can inherit the features from more than one base class. That is nothing but multiple inheritance. For this derived class, I am going to create an object. So, if you see the image here parent will be the one base class. I am going to consider this as one base class and I am going to consider this mother as another base class. What this child class will going to do? So that is derived class. This derived class of child class will going to acquire the features from its father as well as from its mother. Right? So that it is acquiring the features from more than one base class. That is nothing but multiple inheritance. Here I have two base classes, what father and mother, and I have one derived class, that is a child. So this child will going to have features from both father and mother. Okay. So this is a real-time example to make you understand the concept. So here I am creating a class A, that is a base class, and this has several data members and member function. I am going to close the class A, that is base class, and I have one more base class, that is B. And it has its own properties. I am going to close the scope of this B and I am creating one more class C. So here also I am going to consider that as a base class. I am going to close the scope of this class C. So totally I have 3 base class but only 1 derived class. So this one derived class will going to have the features from all the 3 base classes. It will going to have the features or a characteristics from all the 3 base classes. That kind of inheritance is nothing but multiple inheritance. So here class D is the base class and it will going to acquire the feature of A, B as well as C. And I am going to have some of the member for the class D, that is derived class. Then I will be closing the derived class of D. Okay, so this is how multiple inheritance works. Which is the next type of inheritance then? That is hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical in the sense tree structure. Root will be the one. Then it will divide it into number of branches. In the same way, hierarchical inheritance in the sense there will be only one base class. With the help of that base class, we can create any number of derived classes. We can create or we can have any number of derived classes. If you see here, if a number of classes are derived from a single base class, if a number of classes are derived from a single base class, then that kind of inheritance is known as what? Hierarchical inheritance. It is like a tree structure. Okay, so this type of inheritance is mainly used to reduce the complexity. So here I have a complex problem. I'm going to divide that problem into number of sub-problem. What I'm going to do? I'm going to divide that problem into number of sub-problem. So I'm going to find a solution for each sub-problem. After getting the solution of each sub-problem, then at last I'm going to integrate. I'm going to integrate in order to get a solution for the complex one. So divide and conquer method. So that means top-down approach. So the complexity will be reduced with the help of this hierarchical inheritance. So if you consider the example here we have one base class and 3 derived classes. And 3 derived classes. All the 3 derived classes will going to acquire the features from the same base class. So what are the features they have? Here she can cook, sing, dance and she can teach. And this derived class will going to inherit the features from this base class. Also this derived class can also have its own feature like fly planes and play footballs. Okay, this is for your context or example. If I consider this derived class 2, it will going to have all the features of this base class. Along with that, it can also have its own feature. In the same way for the third derived class. So what I am doing here, I have only one base class. I am creating n number of derived classes. If more than one derived class is acquiring the features from the same base class, then I can call that kind of inheritance as a hierarchical inheritance. It will be like a tree structure. That you have to remember here. Here I have only one base class and you can create n number of derived classes. You can create n number of derived classes. I hope you understood with that hierarchical inheritance. Then coming to the last type of inheritance, which is that is hybrid inheritance. Hybrid in the sense what? Combination. So which type of combination I can call as the hybrid inheritance? It will be a combination of hierarchical inheritance as well as multi-level inheritance. Already we know what do you mean by hierarchical inheritance as well as multi-level inheritance. Hierarchical in the sense only one base class is there and that will be derived to number of derived classes. And multi-level in the sense there will be more than one level of inheritance. So if I add these two or if I collaborate these two into that, then I am going to get this hybrid inheritance. Or it could also be a combination of any other type of inheritance. Okay, that you have to remember. Here I have a grandfather. So I am going to consider this as a base class. What I am going to consider? This grandfather as a base class. This father will become the next level of inheritance. If I consider this context for a multi-level, then this grandfather become the base class. This father become the derived class 1. So this further become the derived class 1. Here I have a two dimensions. So base class, derived class 1. If I come in this way, so then this become derived class 2. Or else if I go in this way, this become the base class 1, this become the derived class 1, and this become the derived class 2. It is multi-level. Then what is hierarchical? I have only one base class. But with the help of that single base class, I am going to create more than one derived class, or more than one derived class can acquire the feature of a single base class. So I hope it will be a combination of multi-level as well as the hierarchical. Okay, so this example will surely help you out in order to remember the concept of hybrid inheritance. Here I have a multi-level as well as the hierarchical. Here I have only one base class. It will be derived to two derived classes. If I consider this as a multi-level, so in this way, this class A properties will be acquired by class B, and this class B's properties will be acquired by class D. If I come in this way, class A's properties will be acquired by class C, and this class C properties will be acquired by class D. So this is how I can use the hybrid inheritance. I hope you understood with today's session, that is levels of inheritance as well as what is the need of inheritance, how can I use the derived class, and what are the visibility mode that I must go with. I hope you all understood with today's session. In the coming session, I am going to describe single level inheritance program along with what do you mean by abstract class and what do you mean by virtual class, and how can I use the constructor and destructor in a derived class. That will be my next session's topics. So until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.